So I was looking at a couple of comments, and one of you guys had asked me to do a video on what it means when you put up the 5D boundaries and say you can't access me in 5D, and you have to come in the physical. And it was quiet for what it was quiet for a while, which was great. But now it seems as though divine counterpart is trying to push through my thoughts and back into my 5D. It's like his 5D self isn't respecting the boundaries anymore. What do you do? So yes, I decided to create a discourse, that comment. So let's delve right in, right? Like when your twin flame pushes through the 5D boundary. So lately I've been doing a lot of videos on that angle, what happens. So again, welcome back to my channel, and I hope you guys have been doing well. In this channel we talk about everything related to the twin flame journey, the core, the heart truths, and everything. So to all the new subscribers, welcome, and to all of you who have been here since the start, welcome to you all as well. So all right, so let me delve right in. Okay, one of the hardest dynamics to navigate in the twin flame journey is energetic access in the 5D. So many of you set strong boundaries and say you can't connect with me in the 5D anymore. You need to show up in the physical, and for a while it may work. The field becomes quiet and you feel relief, but then suddenly it feels like your divine masculine's higher self or 5D body is pressing through your thoughts, your energy, your space, almost as if your boundary is being ignored. And the question is, what do you do when his 5D self isn't respecting your boundaries anymore? So let's look into the nature of 5D boundaries. All right. And before we go into the nature of our 5D boundaries, I wanted to talk about why, when you really, what you really need to understand is that, sorry guys, that was the work stuff that came in. So what you really need to understand is 5D boundaries are not like the 3D ones. In the physical world, you can block, you can walk away, or cut contact. Simple, like what our divine masculines do, right? Block, or tell you off, or say I never want to speak to you again, and the next moment he speaks to you, or says that he's not interested but he loves you, or he says that he doesn't like you. All these contradictions that you're talking about, being close and then being absent, drawing you in and pushing you away. So in the physical world, you can literally do these things. And in the 5D, your boundaries only hold if your frequency is aligned with them. So in other words, 5D doesn't lie. In 3D, you can still fake it, right? Like your DM literally fakes it all the time when he says he doesn't like you, that he's not interested in you, and he looks at you like you're like someone that he never wants to be with. And then the mornings and nights and the random thoughts of you, he thinks you can't feel him. He thinks that he's imagining it. He thinks that, hey, I can get away with it because it's all in my mind. But nope. The third energy is very, very transparent, especially if you're in a monadic twin flame journey. There is no way for your DM to. So that's why this whole testing phase is very important, because when you start drawing boundaries, you too will start realizing this is real. So all the while, your DM comes into your mind, he comes into your field, you feel his 5D, you'll be thinking, hey, it's wishful thinking, you're just imagining to cope. But the moment you tell your DM no, and he starts to rescind, you'll start his energy going back, rescind. Then you will realize, hey, this is actually true. Then you start testing the field. So he will definitely come back more, especially when you start saying no after years of giving him access. And then after that, you're like, okay, I'll spend some time with you in the 5D. So you go back and forth with this for him to understand this is real, so that he realizes that you are actually interacting you are interacting with him in the field. So that's how he will start to. So in a way, you're telling him through 5D, hey, I am not going to entertain you in the 5D unless you're going to respect me in the 3D. So that's when the miracles happen. So that's why if you say no but deep down you're still another thing is, if you say no and deep down you're still longing, fearing, or secretly hoping for him to show up, the field reads that as a yes. That's why you can feel him pushing through even when you think you've closed the door. So you really, really have to be like what it is, because energies don't lie. So why he pushes through? So now let's talk about his 5D self. Why does his 5D self keep pressing in? There are three main reasons, all right? Soul magnetism. The beautiful cord, the red thread between twin flames, is eternal. His higher self will always be drawn to you, and that pull doesn't switch off. That is the truth. And then there is unconscious override. Even if his 3D self has walked away, his subconscious longing, guilt, or desire leaks through energetically. And it isn't always intentional, but you feel it. And thirdly, testing the gate. Sometimes when you set a boundary, which I've been talking about, the masculine energy unconsciously tests whether you really mean it. Not because he wants to disrespect you. Really not the case. I've confirmed it with my DM himself. That's never the intention. But because the connection itself will push you to embody a firmer sovereignty. So that's why you may be asking, what is the spiritual point of all of this? Really, sometimes it's just not about him. This is mirror initiation. The universe is showing you where you still struggle to enforce your no, where longing or fear is leaving cracks in your energy field, where you need to distinguish between true soul resonance and psychic intrusion. So, twin flame separation isn't just about waiting, it's literally spiritual training in energetic mastery. So, you're probably like, what can you do? So, what do you do when this happens? So, this is a very important thing for you to do. Just a moment, let me get this in. All right. Sorry about that, guys. It was a work thing. That's what happens when you start doing these discourses in the mornings, right? So where was I? So as I was saying, you know, like I really, really wanted to like go through that part where really, so that's the reason why like understanding the 5D boundaries are very, very, very important, because another thing before I move on to the next part is, physical world boundaries are tangible. You can walk away, like I was mentioning earlier. You can block someone's number. You can say no. You can, like, that's why your DM does that, right? Blocking you on Facebook, just to spite you, especially when he knows these things will affect you, and you can say no, and you can remove yourself from the situation. That's a 3D boundary, right? Very, very clear, very clear. But the 3D boundary can happen even if you don't want it to happen. Example, your divine masculine really doesn't want to block you, but he's just so annoyed by you being in his 5D, he does that. But in the 5D, energies don't lie, In the 5D, which is energetic, it's a spiritual plane of thought, right? Emotion and the third energy, boundaries work completely different. They are not enforced by physical action, they are enforced by frequency. And that's the reason why, you feel like, for example, if you tell your twin flame in the 5D, don't connect with me in the 5D, come into the in the physical instant, the words alone don't create the boundary. Like I was talking about it earlier, the boundary holds only holds if your vibration, your nervous system, and your subconscious are fully aligned with the message. And here's the challenge: most of us, even when we say no, are still carrying longing, fear, hope underneath, and the field doesn't respond to the words, it responds to energy. So that is the difference between 3D and 5D. 3D, your DM can lie to himself, he can convince himself that he hates you, he doesn't want to be with you, and he can create that action. But in the 5D, you can be like, you want to do the same thing, but you can't, because energies don't lie. It's a higher vibrational state. So if deep down you're still secretly open to feeling him in the 5D, that's your coping mechanism. If you're still afraid that without the connection in the ether, he might leave you, then your no becomes porous. The door is still cracked open, and because of the soul bond, he feels the opening. And this is why sometimes boundaries work for a while, like the requests. You mean them, you hold them, you ground yourself, but the field tests you again. So as I was like talking about the three main reasons, right, about how magnetism, the unconscious override, testing the gate, it's like these are very, 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 very important reasons that I wanted to like actually delve a little bit deeper. Before I go deeper into like the spiritual aspect of things. You see, as I had mentioned, as twin flames, we are always connected. It's soul coded. It exists in creation. So even setting boundaries, the magnetic pull is always there. His higher self instinctively reaches out to you. Instinctively. Because his higher self knows. Because he himself is facing a disconnect with his 3D, right? That's why he does stupid things like blocking you, especially, for example, spending so much time with you, or truly, truly breaking your. But you see, it's always a two-way thing. Every action of our divine masculine is part of our journey on a whole. So when you look at things in a macro perspective, he does that to wake you up from within, like how you are trying to wake your divine masculine up as well. So that's why his higher self always instinctively reaches out for you, and you do that to him as well. We do that to our divine masculine as well. Our higher self is always there, kind of like guiding him. So that's why even in the 3D, he walks away very grandly or rejects you very grandly, like, tells you off right on your face, makes those faces, tries to show that he's really, really angry, and even stretches it to, like, let's say public humiliation. Very rare cases, I'm just talking about the extremes, or just tells you off over a message, or tells you directly like, leave me, or his subconscious knows the truth. His soul knows the truth. And so unresolved desire, guilt, longing, or even fear leaks into your field. And this is something not only of this lifetime, it is countless past lifetimes as well. That's another reason why it's a double-edged sword. Sometimes your DM thinks that you're safer without him, that you are safer. And so because he carries all of that guilt, that longing, even, you see, the thing is, you may think he blocked you on like social media, but then deeply he's guilty about it every single day. He might not show it, so there's no point you checking if he's going to unblock you, because he's not, because he knows you're checking if you're checking. But if you're not checking, he would not unblock you either. For some, they never unblock you at all, and you get into stable union, because then it doesn't matter anymore. You don't have to be in each other's socials to recognize the connection. So you see, even that distortion goes away. So I have clients where they're in happy union, stable union, and they still haven't unblocked each other, because it doesn't matter anymore. Some have even totally like they're off social media, because that's what created so much pain for them in the first place. So it's not always our divine masculine choosing it consciously. Sometimes his suppressed emotions override the boundary and forces his way in because he's so sad, right? He's in so much pain for pushing you away, and he feels like he wants to console you in the 5D. He wants to be intimate you in the 5D because he knows that in the 3D you're missing that. So here's the tough one, right? Sometimes the connection itself tests your sovereignty. Think of it like a spiritual firewall. When you say no, the universe asks you, do you really mean it? So the energy pushes in again to see if you collapse or stand firm. And this is really, really, like I said, not about disrespect. It's about strengthening your own energetic mastery. That's why our divine masculine does all of these things. Like I say, those trigger words, they're actually codes. That's why they affect you so much. Like a freaking 3D person would to say like he's not interested, you will like walk away. In fact, you will block them off first. But when your DM says it, why does it hurt you so much? When anything, even him showing his face or being angry towards you, why are you being so affected so much? Because it matters, right? That's why when we look at what this actually means for your journey, when his 5D self pushes into your energy despite your boundaries, it's not simply about him ignoring you. It's a mirror initiation. The field is asking you, where are you still afraid to stand in your no? Where are you still secretly longing for the 5D connection, even though you told yourself you're done? Where do you confuse soul resonance, which is natural, eternal, with psychic intrusion, which is a boundary violation? And I've had divine masculine clients share with me, or sometimes, is that a violation? Am I reading too much into a field? No, this is spiritual training, for divine masculines and divine feminines too. Sometimes you feel like, hey, maybe it's all of me, like spending time with me in my DM. Maybe that's why he feels so angry with me in the 3D. Nope, this is all part of the spiritual training. Twin flame separation is not just about waiting, it's about developing energetic sovereignty. And that sovereignty is what makes you ready for union, because if you cannot hold your field when it's high self pushes in, you won't be able to hold the union field when his physical self finally comes forward. So what can you actually do? So what do you do in practice when this happens? So let me give you this 4-step process. Something that I teach my students, I teach my clients. So reinforce the ritual. Every time you feel him in your space, calmly but firmly say, not here. If you want to be, it must be in the physical. So you can even flirt a little if you want. But say it with clarity. Then let it go. Don't obsess. The key is consistency, not force. Number 2, energetic shielding. Visualize yourself surrounded by light. Some of you, may resonate with these techniques. Some of you may not. You just want to go. Some of you may be like, depending on how you visualize stuff, like some golden crystalline grid, some of you may see like a white plasma. Use whatever feels strongest. The point is not to block him forever, but to filter the energy, so only respectfully you're having aligned interaction with each other, so that alignment is there, and also interaction can enter. So in a way, this energetic shielding is like he cannot enter unless you allow him to go past the crystalline grid, for example. So this is like within the third energy, you're placing this energetic boundary. Number 3, anchor back into the body. Most psychic intuition happens when you have expanded, when you're too expanded. If you're daydreaming, ungrounded, or floating in the ethers, it's easy for his energies to slip in. The solution: breathe. Drop into your belly, your womb, your feet on the ground, your feet on the ground, and bring yourself back into your body. This closes leaks in your auric field. And this step is very, very important. Honestly reflect, honest reflection. Instead of just blaming him for not respecting you, ask yourself, what part of me still wants him here? Where am I afraid that if I close the door completely, he won't return? This isn't about shame. It's about clarity, because where you're secretly leaving the door open is exactly where the field will push in. So you see, this is the paradox of sovereignty, all right? I'm always running out of water. Like, no matter how many bottles I fill. Anyway, his 5D self may stop longing for you. No, no. What I mean is his 3D self may stop longing for you, but his 5D self may never stop longing for you because the pool is eternal. That's not going away. But the question is, does he get to access you whenever he wants, or do you decide when and how? So true sovereignty is not about saying no once, but it's about embodying the vibration of sovereignty so consistently that the field itself obeys. And here's the beautiful twist: the more you stand in your sovereignty, the more you actually call him forward in the 3D, because when he can no longer rely on the ether, when you no longer give him the comfort in the 5D, he's left with only one option: to show up in the physical. So, what feels like him ignoring your boundaries may actually be the final test that prepares both of you for physical union. So, I know this discourse is quite deep, it's going to set in deep, right? So, that's why. Let me leave you with this. When your divine masculine pushes into your 5D, even after you've set boundaries, it's not just him. It's your initiation. It's your training ground for field mastery. And when you master it, when you can hold your sovereignty calmly, firmly, and consistently, you're not just protecting your energy. You're anchoring the very frequency that will make your union sustainable, which I always talk about: stable union. So next time you feel him pushing in, don't panic, don't collapse. Take it as practice ground. Stand firm, stand confident. If he can confidently block you in the 3D, confidently reinforce your no, anchor into your body, and know this is part of your training as a divine feminine. Really, if your divine masculine can do it in the 3D, why can't you not do it in the 5D? And now I'd love to hear from you. Have you experienced this? Have you felt your divine masculine pushing back into your thoughts or your energy even after you said no more 5D? So share your experience in the comments, because you're not alone and your story will help others feel less insane on this path. So, this is where it is. So, with that, I hope you have enjoyed this discourse, and I'll come back again with another one. And again, thank you for the individual who commented, asked me about this. So I'm glad I'm answering this question for all of you as well. So yes, all right. And if you guys want to work one-on-one with me, you can book a session via my website. All my sessions, I know you guys always ask me this question. I do all my sessions live, one-on-one, via video call, Zoom. Actually, of course, if you want to use another platform, we can do it too. And I've introduced a few really, really beautiful healings. I would highly recommend you check them out. And they've been such a hit so far. So, I'll ask you, if you feel it, book it, like truly. So I introduced 3 healings: the heart flame resurrection, the sacred mirror alchemy one, and the emerald heart and sapphire mind synchronization star healing for twin flames. So do check them out. And of course, I will also recommend the third energy field expansion healing, which I recently introduced to. This is for advanced monadic twin flame, to bring it up to the next level. And for those who've already done the third energy healing, this will add on to the field. If you have already done your third energy activation, it will be good to follow through with the third energy field expansion, and of course soul too. So with that, I'll see you all again with another video. Take care, love you all, and blessings to you all. All right, take care and bye bye.